Greetings. It's been quite a while. Probably WrestleMania since the last time I did one of these videos, and it's a very different video because for the first time ever on this channel, I'm actually doing a prediction video and later a thoughts video on an AEW show. The thing is, I haven't been all that interested in what WWE's product has been lately to the point of actually wanting to put money on it. So I didn't bother with SummerSlam, I didn't bother with any other pay-per-view, and I'm probably not going to bother with anything until, I don't know, maybe not even Survivor Series, who knows. But I'm probably not going to bother. But today isn't about WWE, it's about AEW. Why have I just now decided to do an AEW show? Well, I think you might know why. But if you don't, I'll get to that match later. Now, I'm just going to hold my hands up and just say this right now. I am not an avid viewer of AEW. I keep up with what's going on the show to a certain degree, but I don't know all the details, and you might see me fumble a little bit in terms of storyline points and something like that, and I might say something that doesn't compute with you, who, if you watch the show regularly. I don't watch it regularly, I'm sorry. I keep up a little bit with what's going on, but I only keep up with what essentially happens on Dynamite and on Rampage. I don't follow Dark Elevation or whatever other show ties into AEW. I just keep up with what's going on Dynamite and Rampage at the moment. So yeah. So if something I'm about to say doesn't really has been explained elsewhere, I'm sorry, I haven't seen it. But anyway, let's dig into to the show. There are a total of 10 matches on the card. I have a Wikipedia page up on the side here, so I can run through the match card. We'll start things off with the pre-show, or the buy-in, whatever you want to call it. And it features the team of Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus versus Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, Angelico, and Angelico, and Jack Evans. It's a 10-man tag. It's on the pre-show. I'm gonna assume the faces are gonna win this, so I'm taking Team Orange Cassidy, if you can call it that. I don't know if the team has an official name. It just seems to be two tag teams smushed together against Matt Hardy's collective. So yeah, I'm just gonna go for that. I don't really know if that makes sense or not. I'm just gonna go off the whole. It's the pre-show. I know it's a very WWE way of thinking, but I'm just gonna say that's what I'm thinking. Alright, next up, we have the Casino Battle Royal for an opportunity at the AEW Women's title. The participants announced so far are Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Ty Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura, Jade Cargill, Kira Hogan, Abaddon, Layla Hirsch, Kylie King, I want to say, is how you pronounce that name, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay, Riho, Sky Blue, and a yet to be announced wrestler, which I assume is the Joker, because they usually do that. The way I believe these battle royals are set up is that it's an interval of 5 each, and then one person has the Joker and comes in last. And it's usually a debuting star. So it's probably going to be someone from the Indies. Some people have been throwing out someone like Ruby Soho, the former Ruby Riot, and something like that. It could be that. But I'm not here to speculate who that could be, because it could be literally anybody. No, I'm here to pick who's going to win that match. And I'm stuck between two. I could either say the Joker, so no matter who the Joker is, that person's going to win. Or I could go for someone who's actually in the match. And my suspicion lies with Thunder Rosa. My thought process there is that the current AEW Women's Champion is Britt Baker. And spoiler alert, I think, and spoiler for a later prediction, I think she's going to win that. I'm going to go with the assumption that we're going to rekindle a rivalry that's happened before, which is Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. But maybe it's not happening yet, but it could happen. So I'm leaning more towards that we're going to get that earlier than expected, maybe. I'm going to go for Thunder Rosa because it's a safer bet than going for a Joker. So I'm going for Thunder Rosa here. That's my pick for the Casino Battle Royal. Okay, next up we have an interpromotional match. We have Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima from New Japan, I want to say. I think. Could be a different promotion, I don't know. But yeah, it's apparently an interpromotional match. I don't exactly know why they're fighting, other than they're very violent individuals and want to beat the crap out of each other. I haven't been following the story too well about why they're fighting. As for who's going to win, I'm just going to go off the assumption. From what I've heard about Kojima is that he's an older talent, so maybe he can afford to lose. So I could say Jon Moxley is going to win. Yeah, I'm just going to go off that assumption. I have no better thought in my head. I'm going to say Jon Moxley is going to win this match. That's just my thought process. Okay, next up we have Paul Wight versus QT Marshall. This one's also pretty simple for me. Apparently, Paul Wight has a very strong numbers game against him, because not only is he dealing with QT Marshall and his group The Factory, but apparently he's also pissed off the Gunn Club, consisting of Billy Gunn and his two sons. So I assume that Billy Gunn or one of the other Guns are gonna cost him the match against QT Marshall. So my prediction is simple. I'm gonna go for QT Marshall to win this match. Could be a red herring. It could be Paul Wight's win here, but I feel like with how old Paul Wight is and how much he's done for the business, I assume he's willing to just give QT Marshall a big win here. That's just my thought process. Okay. Next up, I think that's... Next up we have two matches. We have two more matches. Two more singles matches, then we move on to the title matches. First up, we have a really big, that could be a big one. MJF versus Chris Jericho, with the added stipulation that if Chris Jericho loses, he has to retire as an in-ring competitor. Now, you immediately would think, oh, that means Jericho's going to win. But will he, though? Yes, it's true Jericho has lost a couple of times to MJF so far, and very much could win here, retain his story, and keep the storyline going a little bit. But Jericho is getting up there in age, so there is a very strong possibility he could just say, you know what, I want to give MJF the biggest rub of his life by being the one to end my career. But on the other hand, Jericho's also said in the past that when he retires, he doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. He just wants to have a match and not even announce that that's going to be his last match. Like, not having known that that's going to be his last match. He's just going to have a match, and then he decides to retire, and that's it. You have to excuse the sound in the background. That's my washing machine. So yeah, my thought process is basically... my thought process is, you know what? I think he's going to stick to that. So I'm going to say that Chris Jericho is in fact going to retain his career, and he's going to win this match somehow. I don't know how, but somehow he's going to. There's a lot of stuff happening on this night that I also feel like having Chris Jericho retire also doesn't seem like something that could fit into this. So yeah, I'm gonna say Jericho's going to stay active. He's going to still be a wrestler after this match, so he's going to win. And next up, a match that could main event the show considering where it's taking place. But I'm going off the for another of a different assumption. Also, I like to do the non-title matches first before doing the title matches. So we have the reason that I'm watching this pay-per-view. Still can't believe I'm about to say it, but I have to. It's Darby Allin versus CM Punk. I wasn't sure I would ever get to say that. It's like when CM Punk first left wrestling back in 2014, I had this thought process that, you know, CM Punk, he's not gonna... He's probably going to take some time off, and considering how badly things went with WWE, he's never going back to WWE. But I have this feeling he will wrestle again. I mean, if Bruno Sammartino can, in some capacity, come back to wrestling after the bridges that were burned, or the Ultimate Warrior, I'm sure Punk can come back, but not to WWE. I feel like there's too much ill will towards WWE that he wouldn't come back there, at least not as an active competitor. But as the years went on, I was starting to doubt myself. I was starting to doubt it, especially with how pissed off Punk seemed to be at wrestling in general. So there was a time when I just thought, maybe he's never wrestling again. Maybe it's over. And then the rumor started that he was signing with AEW. And I just thought, I'll believe it when I see it. And then that Rampage episode came up, and there he is. And he announced that he's facing Darby Allin at All Out. So, it's been 7 years. The 2014 Royal Rumble was the last time he ever had a match. And now he's going to step in on pay-per-view against Darby Allin. Now you would think that means he's going to win. Because, you know, 7 years away, he said he's going to wrestle a little bit more, maybe. It all depends on how this match goes. You'd think you'd have CM Punk win, especially considering where we are, and considering this pay-per-view takes place in Chicago. But I'm not entirely convinced. Because CM Punk has been bigging up Darby Allin quite a bit, so you'd think he'd want to give him a big win as well. But I'm still not convinced by that. If this was the second match of Punk's career, like if he had a match on Dynamite first, and then faced Darby Allin, maybe I could see him losing. But there's a part of me that's thinking, no, I don't think he's losing. It's a tough call, but I think ultimately I'm going to say CM Punk is going to win. Purely because I have this fear that the whole entire building is going to burn to the ground if he loses. Like the Chicago crowd is going to be absolutely fuming that CM Punk after all this time comes back just to lose. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. So yeah, I'm going to say CM Punk is going to win this match. Okay, that's all the non-title matches. On to the title matches. First up, we have Miro versus Eddie Kingston for the TNT Championship. I think I'm gonna say Miro's going to retain here because I don't think Miro's held that title for that long. Plus, his current gimmick of the Redeemer is currently building a lot of steam. So I don't think you want to cut that off by having him lose to Eddie Kingston. I mean, he very much could, but I have this feeling that he's not going to do that. So my thought process is that I'm going to say that Miro is going to retain the TNT Championship, and maybe he's going to defend it against someone else down the line who's going to take it. Maybe the next time he defends it, he's going to drop it, but not now. I think Miro is going to retain. Next up, we have Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defending her AEW Women's Championship against Chris Statlander. I think this is short and to the point. Just like Miro, I don't think Britt Baker's held that title for that long, and I have this feeling like it's not going to be Chris Statlander who takes that title from Britt Baker. It's probably going to be someone else. I don't know who yet. There's something outside that's squeaking or something. I have this feeling like it's going to be it's probably going to be Britt Baker who retains this title. Hell, here's a little speculatory idea. She wins that match, and then she announces that she has a very special surprise. For her victory. Out comes Adam Cole, having left WWE and is now joining AEW and joining his partner there. I don't think that's actually going to happen, but it's a small speculatory idea. He apparently is a free agent and he can't show up at All Out. It's a thought. Speaking of which, I do want to address a little bit thing that there was a cancelled match at All Out. Like there was supposed to be a match between Andrade and Pac, or Pac, I don't know exactly how to pronounce that name. But Pac is stuck in England because of travel issues due to COVID, from what I can guess. So that match has been cancelled. But there has been talks that maybe Andrade is going to get a replacement opponent. While the match itself is going to take place later, he's going to get a replacement opponent at All Out, which is a possibility. I don't think that's going to happen, since I've heard absolutely nothing that they've actually said it's going to happen. But that's a possibility. It could, and maybe that's where you could debut Adam Cole. I know there's another name that's been speculated, but I'm saving that one for later. Next up, we have the match that I have the toughest time calling. It's the AEW Tag Team titles, the Young Bucks defending against the Lucha Brothers, inside a steel cage. The Lucha Brothers have been on the downside in recent weeks, so that could be leading up to them winning the titles. But you could also say that with the current run the Elite is going on, that maybe they're not going to lose the titles until we're getting closer to Kenny Omega losing his AEW Championship. Spoiler alert, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to lose, but we'll get to that match. But you know what? I've noticed one thing. If the Young Bucks retain here, that means every single champion is going to retain, because again, I don't think Kenny Omega's losing. So I actually want to take a stab in the dark here. I want to take a punt. I'm going to say that the Young Bucks are losing. It's a steel cage match. They could lose. lose since they are supposed to have no interference from other people, like no Good Brothers and no other members of the Elite. I'm going to say that the winner is going to be the Lucha Brothers. We're going to get new tag team champions. That's the only title that's going to change hands tonight. Sorry. So yeah, that's my prediction. I'm going to say that the Lucha Brothers are retaining the AEW Tag Title. Also, if you've noticed that I've grabbed my hand a lot and done all this all the time, I recently had the second shot of the vaccine and my arm has been acting up a little bit, so just trying to keep it moving a little bit. And finally, what I think will be the main event for a very specific reason, I'm going for, it's going to be the AEW Championship, AEW World Title. It's Kenny Omega defending against Christian Cage. Now, I've seen the match between them on Rampage. That was for the Impact title. It was a really damn good match, and in that match, Christian ended up beating Kenny and winning the Impact Championship. And that 100% telegraphs to me he's going to lose here. Kenny's going to retain the AEW Championship, and we're just going to move on to the next feud. Now, some people have been saying that most likely Kenny's not going to lose that title until Hangman Adam Page comes back, which makes sense for the story, but Hangman is currently on paternity leave, so that could be a while before he comes back. We don't know that for certain, so who knows? I don't have no idea when he's coming back, so I'm not entirely sure which way you're going to go about it. However, I have an idea for what's going to happen, and I've heard this from a few people, so I'm going to steal that idea. We're going to have Kenny Omega win and retain his championship, but as he's celebrating with the rest of the Elite, you're going to hear music, and you're going to hear some music. Could be Ride of the Valkyries, could be Final Countdown, but out comes the debuting Bryan Danielson, who it has been speculated is going to make his debut on All Out. And I think he's going to do it here to be the next challenger for Kenny Omega's title. He's probably not going to win, but I feel like that's where it's going. So yeah, my prediction there is, that Kenny's going to retain, and Bryan Danielson is going to be the next challenger by debuting in the main event to send the crowd home, prospering at the idea of Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. Okay, so that's my predictions. Quick summary in case you need a reminder. For the pre-show, I'm going for Team Face. And for the main card, I'm going for Thunder Rosa. I'm going John Moxley. I'm going QT Marshall, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Miro, Britt Baker, the Lucha Brothers, and finally Kenny Omega. That's all. See you all for my thoughts video on AEW All Out 2021.